In this particular class, we will embark on a new project, and the project is to create a counter using JavaScript. Now you can see this counter on the screen, and this has been created using JavaScript, CSS and HTML. Now there are three buttons here, and you got the heading and as well as the text, counter text. Now if you were to click on this decrease button, the counter would actually reduce by 1, and you can clearly see as long as you keep clicking, the counter is dynamically reducing the values. Now the moment you say reset, it will reset to 0. I have not activated the reset button, and the moment you say increase, it will start to increase the values. So having mentioned that, let us start off by going to the Visual Studio Code. This is the index file. Now I've also got a style sheet here, so we will create those files, and I have placed all of them in this particular folder called counter. So I will start with the exclamatory mark with a tab, and then you get the boilerplate, and I will change the title. I will say counter app, and then in JavaScript I will give a link file, and the type is equal to text/css, and href is equal to css/. I have not created the content of CSS, we will do it later on. So this is how it looks, and I will start with the div class. So div class is equal to container, and inside this I will give a h1 tag counter, and after that I'll give a span tag with the id being equal to value, and I will place the number 0 there, and then I will design another div tag. So this will be div class is equal to, it's going to be for the button, right? It is going to contain all the buttons, so I'm going to say button container, and then inside that we will have buttons. So button class is equal to btn, and this will be a decrease button, so I'll just say decrease, and then subsequently I will start another button. Button class is equal to btn reset, and this is going to be the reset button, and then button class is equal to btn increase, and this will actually increase the values. So that is for the HTML. If you were to save it and go back and check this out, this is how it looks. So we need CSS. So without CSS, we wouldn't be able to actually get the required output in the manner that we just saw. So for that, before writing the script, I would like to create the CSS. So let's do that. So I've got a file, new file, but I have not entered any code there. So I'm going to start by giving the margins, the browser resets, and then I will start with the body. I'll give a background color, body background color. You can give the color you like. Probably I might give, say, 26C29F. So that would be the body color. So now I've got a container here, so I'm going to target this container. So it's a class there, and I'm going to give a min height of 100 VH. VH stands for viewport height, and then I'm going to give a display as flex and flex wrap as wrap, and justify content as center, align items as center. So I'm going to do all of this. So if you were to do all of this, let's see the output. How does it look? So clearly you can see we have this counter, and you got that 0 and these buttons featuring here. So actually we need to push these things down. Now what we can do is we can increase the size, the font size to EM. Color, if you want, you can have a brown color depending on what you like, or say blue. So let's check it out. How does it look? So this is how it looks. So but we need to push these things down. I will do that. I will do that using the class here. So I'll take the container class. I will work on the container class. This is going to be the container class. So I'm going to say margin top 200 px. So let's check it out. What happens? Okay, so that's been pushed down. Probably I will also need to push this 0 down. So for that, I will have to target this value, right? The value ID. So I'm going to start here with value. I'm going to say margin top is say 120 px, and that would actually cause, okay, it has moved. Probably you can move it a little bit off. So for that to happen, what we need to do is we need to go over here and we need to give this code. Position is absolute. So if you were to give that code and go back, you can clearly see the counter is moving towards 0. Now one more code you can give. You can restrict the width to be as 100 px and the height to be as 100 px. So if you were to do this and save it, so clearly you can see that they are almost in the center. Of course you can do some light manipulation. What I can do is I can push it down, right? I can push it down, and the counter is just above, and you got the value 0 here. Now as I mentioned, these buttons can also be pushed down, and foremost what I wish to do is I would like to increase the size of this counter, and that can be done by this code. Font size say 2 em or 1.8 em, right? 1.8 em. And the color, you can change the color to say black. Let's check that color out, right? So this is how the counter looks. Of course I can push, I will be pushing these buttons down. So I go over here, I have simply given margin top. Let me increase it to 280, and okay, so that's how it looks. And depending on what you like, you can actually control them using the CSS. So what I wish to do, I would like to place some coloring onto the buttons. So let's do that. So over here, if you were to go and check it out, the class is actually the button class. Everything has got, see, this is actually a list, right? You see that? BTN increase, BTN reset, BTN decrease. They all come under the list called as button. So we can target them using BTN, right? I can clearly say say font size 18px, padding 5px and 10px. And if I were to do that, this is how it looks. You see that? This is how it looks. And you can actually push the button down, push the container down. Excuse me. You can also move this H1 a little bit away, right? So you can do all those things depending on what you like. So if you want to move this heading towards the right, all you need to do is go over here to the code and place this code H1 margin left 120px. You save it, you go back here and you refresh it, and you can get that specific design that I was just mentioning to you about. So all of these things can be controlled in the CSS. Now the button looks a little bit vague, so what I wish to do is I would like to go here and give, say, a background color transparent, and the color of the font, if you want, you can give a border radius say 2px. So all of these things will change how the button looks, right? So there is a slight bend there, and then we can also give a border solid 3px. You can say saddle brown. How does this look? Okay. Okay, now the button is looking good. So this is for the CSS part. Now we have not touched the JavaScript part. So this is all for the designing, because without the proper design it wouldn't look good, right? So having given this, let us work on the JavaScript part. Now, as also I always used to mention you this, whatever you want, you can manipulate that design onto the page. So it all depends on your liking, right? So if you have creativity, the sky is the limit. So this is just a tutorial to understand how we can utilize the JavaScript in manipulating the computer. So that is the objective here. So let me just move on to the index page and create the script. So we have created the script tag, and I'm going to give a variable, say count is equal to 0. This is the variable I'm initializing, and then I'm going to say value. We got a HTML tag with the ID value, so I'm going to capture that. So that is the value, or I should say that is the tag which carries the numeric quantities. So that's going to be document query selector. It has got ID as value, so I'm going to take that. I'll capture that. Next, I have to capture all of these buttons. So I'm going to say value btns is equal to document dot query selector all. I'm going to select all of the buttons. That is done. This, as I mentioned to you, this falls under the button class, right? So that would make the choice for all of these buttons. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you here is that all of these buttons, they fall under the button class, right? BTN. So I'm actually capturing that using this code, document.querySelector. Okay, so now that I have captured it, what I should do, I have to make sure that there is a looping that connects all of these buttons using the for loop. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go over here and then I'm going to use the variable btns. I'm using the for loop. This is the way we write for loop in JavaScript. For each, I'm creating a function. Now you can pass in a parameter. I'm going to pass a parameter bt, right? It can be anything. It doesn't matter. So what is that? What is the meaning of this? Is that you're passing a parameter as the required value for the function. Inside this function, we have to create an add listener that takes in this this parameter and then associates to this parameter an event object. So how could this be done? So let's take this parameter bt and then let's associate a add event listener, and this is actually capturing the click. Now when a click is captured, concurrently we are creating a function with the event object. Now once you create the function with the event object, you will have to use this event object. Action that is being committed or that has been carried out should be actually recorded and sent into a variable. So for that to happen, right, you're making a choice. Say the choice is decrease, reset or increase. So this event object is actually capturing that. This is how it is done. The current target is actually extracted from the class list, right? So as I mentioned to you, all of these things, they fall under a single class, and these classes are actually created as a list. Now from this list, using event listener, the current target which records the click event is now accessed using the event object. Upon getting accessed, that information is sent to this variable. So this variable is holding that click event choice. Simple as that. So we will use this variable in controlling the actions, whether it's increasing or decreasing or taking it as equal, resetting it. That's the simple logic we have here. So as I mentioned to you, we will be using this variable dot if it contains an increase. Say for example, if it contains an increase, so you will have to give it in quotes. It can be either double quotes or single quotes. So I will give it in single quotes, right? So if this is what we have clicked, then what we need to do is we will have to increment the count. So if choices of this has occurred, or you open a block, then you say count. You can use this operation. Count is incremented, right? Now I'm going to show you, if count is incremented, then that value has to be passed to the text, right? So we will have to use this variable value, right? So because this variable has captured this tag, HTML tag, so this has to change. So let me just show you how it changes. So what I will do is I will use that value dot text content. Okay, if you want to change the color, you have to use style. I will show you how it is. Text content is equal to count. That's it. So this is the script we have got, and what we have to do is we will have to see that the parentheses are all closed, and that's it. Let's check for errors. So we refresh it, so we go and increase it. You see that? Now if you want to change the color, all you need to do is go back here, and it says value, right? Value.text content. So you take the same value and use the style.color. Since it is incrementing, I will put in a red color. right? So now you go back here and you see that you get that color. So, and for reset you can just increase the, you can just use the same for loop, I should say the same if condition. So if this is the case, this, if not, copy this, go over here and then you paste it. If choices are contained is equal to decrease, it's not increasing, right? Then you bring the content, you bring it down, right? You reduce it, and then you can use the same thing. But the only thing is that we will have to change the colors. Let me just do this like this. Save it and you go over here, and then you see that, see the way it's decreasing. Say if you want to increase it, you see that how it's increasing. Lovely, this is lovely. So now what you can do is I have included the same color, right? So instead of saying blue, you can give say violet, right? You can give violet. So, and that one would be different. Say decreasing, you see that violet color, probably the violet gets hidden there, right? It looks too light, so I will change the violet to dark green, and I'll refresh it. Okay, that's fine, increasing, that's great. Now we need to give the reset. So for that I'm copying this, and I say if choice is equal to, if choices are contained is equal to reset, then count is equal to 0, and then it should be in black, right? You save it, right? You save it, you go up, you refresh it, and then this decreasing, you reset, you see that, lovely, and then you increase it. So this is a beautiful project, students, and I hope you enjoyed this project, and until we meet again, thank you.